So it's really dark in here. I know. I'm not flipping the camera over so you can see anything. And yeah, it is what it is. But I don't know, man. I just can't sleep. Like, I've been having some trouble sleeping the past couple of days because I've been having some major pain going on in the lower part of my neck. Where it connects to my back, connects to where your neck connects to like your lower back or your upper back and your right near your shoulder blades. Oh no, I think I got some kind of knot there from like, I thought it was from like scrubbing the floor too hard the other day when I was at my uncle's house cleaning, but I don't know, it should have like popped back into place by now, but it hasn't, and so it's been making me not sleep properly. Yeah, and plus I've also had my days and nights messed up. So the last couple of days I've been like sleeping pretty much all day long, um, and waking up between like 6 and 7 o'clock at night. You know, so that's also a problem because I do have to work in a couple hours. So and this would be the first time I've worked since uh I think last Thursday. I think it was. Yeah, yeah. I think it was last Thursday. But it doesn't matter. But anywho, um so the other day I got on Facebook and like the first thing I noticed when I got on there was this post from this person who I've been going back and forth with them for a minute on should I, sever my ties with them or not. And this person, he's like semi-famous, you know what I'm saying? So it's not like I like know him or anything, but I've been following his music for a minute now, and I've been following his posts for a while now. And I admit the last couple of years he's been making music that's like political and also quote unquote Christian music. And I ain't saying he ain't fired up for Jesus because I know he is, and he's doing what we're supposed to be doing. He's calling out people in their sin and stuff, you know what I'm saying? But this post that I read the other day, just like, that was just like the needle, that was just like, that was what's, threw me over, you know what I'm saying? I can't even form words properly right now, sorry. But, it just really got to me, like, I read what he wrote, and I just couldn't believe it, you know what I'm saying? And so the other person he's got, the post was going towards, he's got beef with for whatever freaking reason. I don't know. That's not my business. I don't care. But it's disheartening to hear, you know what I'm saying? And then have them both be like, dissing each other politically, or not politically, but online, publicly, you know what I'm saying? And so, anyway, so I read what the other guy wrote, not on Facebook though. He made a post on here on YouTube, and I went and I read what he wrote, and I was just like, all right, whatever. Well, I had actually stopped following him. It's been a minute since I last like followed his music or whatever, just because a lot of the music he was making, it didn't sit well with me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not bashing either one of them. I'm not saying neither one of them are Christian or whatever, but I know for a fact that God tells us repeatedly to test the fruits, test the fruits, test the fruits. And I'm not saying that I'm any better, you know what I'm saying? Because I know I still got a bad potty mouth, you know, um, and I don't read my Bible like I'm supposed to, you know. I have problems like everybody else does, I struggle with things, but you know, I'm not out here making music, and I'm not out here, trying to be a preacher or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And so I think that, like, I don't know, God, and I ask God every single day for discernment, more discernment, so that I know, what I should be watching, what I should be reading, what I should be listening to, and all of that, you know. And like I said, I've been going back and forth with these people for a minute now and their music and stuff. Well, whenever I like saw Homeboy's post on Facebook, and it just like really like did something to me, you know what I'm saying, in my spirit. Like, it was just so disheartening just to watch, you know, because I've been paying attention to his lives for a minute now, and he's been like, I don't know, man, he's been going off. And some of the stuff I agree with what he says, and a lot of the stuff I don't agree with what he says, because it's just like I kind of feel like he's like too far into it, you know what I'm saying? And yes, we're supposed to wake people up. Excuse me. We're supposed to, you know, we're supposed to be an example to these people. You know, we're supposed to share the gospel with people, and we're supposed to like excuse me. You know, we're supposed to, you know, talk regardless if you believe the same things I believe or not. We're all connected. You know. Hey Cynthia, hey June. Um so, you know, and like I said, I don't believe I'm better than anybody else on this planet. Like I said before, I struggle with stuff all the time. I'm not perfect. I'm not trying to be perfect, you know. I am trying to be better than I was yesterday, you know. I'm trying to put forth an effort to, you know, survive, you know. And it's hard out here. It's really hard out here, especially when you got, you know, especially whenever you got like issues going on, you know, especially if you have any kind of like mental issues, you know, depression, anxiety, stress, post traumatic disorder, whatever, you know. And I got some issues. I mean, I've dealt with depression almost my entire life. I'm 47 years old. You know, I've been dealing with depression since I was about 13, I would say, maybe 12, somewhere around there. Um, you know, I've also have OCD really bad. I have PTSD. I've been dealing with that crap. I don't even know. The doctor said that they think I've had it since I was probably about 12, 13 years old, maybe before that. But I wasn't diagnosed with PTSD until I was like mm, 25, I think, maybe 26, somewhere around there. Um, so it's hard out here, you know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to make excuses for myself by any means, you know. Um, no, Roman, I have no opinion on any kind of political stuff. I'm trying to get away from the political stuff, honestly. That was my other thing that I was about to say. Um, you know, so I have issues just like everybody else does, is what I'm saying. And when you know, when I ask for discernment for these things, these people that I'm following on YouTube or social media or whatever, because I'm drawn to them because they quote unquote call themselves Christians, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, or they are Christians. I'm not saying they're not. I mean, I'm sure they probably are, but I think that they've lost themselves inside themselves, because I've lost myself inside myself so many daggum times, and it's so hard once you like once you're on top, and then you get all up inside your headspace, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes you let your ego get inside of that, and then you just like it, man, you lose yourself, you know what I'm saying? It's hard, and I couldn't even imagine being like an artist, a musician, and trying to, so. But what I was getting at is he's been posting a lot of stuff that I don't agree with, and there's other people that I follow on here too that they do the same stuff, There's a lot of stuff. That's why we really have to test their fruits, We really got to pay attention to who they are, who they say they are online. If they are in the public eye, like, watch them, try to do your research on these people, but don't put all your faith into them, you know don't put all your faith in them, because they're just human, they're just like me and you, they're not God, they're not Jesus, and I don't worship anybody, that's not where I'm getting at, but you know, I see like some of the interviews they've done in the past, and them talking about like other people looking up to them, but they don't use the word looking up. They they say, um they don't use the term looking up. They say, "Oh, these kids idolize me and stuff." Well, okay, that's wrong to even say it like that. You know what I'm saying? Because you should be like telling them that they shouldn't idolize you. It's one thing to look up to somebody and like, like I don't know where I'm getting at with that. I did, but then I lost it. I just think that we just need to be focusing on Jesus more than ever right now. Just because of all the stuff that's happening like all over the world. It's not just happening in the United States, like all over the world. And I try to stay away from the political stuff. I have been for the last 6 months or longer. I have been pulling myself back away from all the political stuff. I used to post all kind of political stuff constantly. I used to, talk about stuff all the time, but I've been trying not to talk about anything political for months now. And I know I'm doing it right now, but I'm not actually doing it. I'm just, having a conversation. I'm not, bringing up anybody's actual name or anything. Um, you know, because I think that it's distraction. I know that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's a distraction. And you're right, June. God does love you, and He does love me. He loves all of us. And you're right, Matt. Hello. And I am so happy to be alive. I don't mean it like that. Like I know that we have to suffer here on this planet because Jesus Christ suffered. He suffered way worse than any of us could ever possibly suffer. And I'm not saying, that I'm not trying to be like, oh, pity party me or anything like that, because I know there's people out here that's got it way worse than I do. I mean, I have a house that I live in. It's technically my parents' house. I don't own anything, like, you know, but I have a roof over my head. I have, my own business. Um, I got food, I got clothes, I'm well off, you know, and I know there's a whole lot more people out here that barely have anything to their name. And that's another thing, I've been wanting to do mission work for the longest time now. Like, go outside the United States and do mission work, not just tell people about Jesus, but, be able to build houses, be able to give them running water, stuff like that. And, Sunday at my friend's church, they had a meeting for a mission trip that's supposed to be coming up, and I was supposed to go, but it was so cold outside, I didn't want to leave my bed. And like I said, I haven't been sleeping properly, so I didn't wake up yesterday or Sunday. I didn't wake up Sunday until like 8 o'clock at night. Excuse me. So I totally missed it. And amen, amen. That Matt Ruth. Yeah, I am grateful too. You're right. You're right, June. Sun is vitamin C, Andy. Yeah. you know and that's the other thing. I don't go outside. Like, whenever it's my day off, like, I stay in the bed. Like, this is how messed up I am now. I started bag number 26. um I started bag number 26 and me collecting things to burn, set on fire. I have bag 23, 24, and 25 that I have not burned yet, that I do have in the hallway for me to take outside and put in my barrel and set it on fire. Um, if you go on any of my playlists are outside, or not outside, my playlists are on my page. It shows where I give my testimony and I burn stuff that I don't want a part of anymore, you know? Um, Whatever. It's all different kinds of things: books, movies, CDs, clothes. stuff that people was giving me that I've cut out of my life. A lot of artists that I used to follow, that I used to be obsessed with back in the day, artwork, stuff like that. But anywho, so I've been doing that again. I've been slowly but surely doing that again because um I just think it's important to get rid of all this stuff. I've yet to make it into my other room over here to go and through all of my poetry I used to write back in the day, because I know that there's probably like cases of notebooks that I wrote forever ago that I need to probably just set the whole daggum container on fire. I don't even think I need to save any of that stuff. It was a really bad time in my life where I was on a lot of drugs and alcohol back then, and I was not walking with God at all. I was not. And I'm 15. No, I'm not 15. Oh wait, is that right? Yeah, I am 15 years sober. I'm 15 years sober. I'll be 16 years sober on July 25th of this year. And it was literally the best decision of my life to ever get clean. I just thank God for the discernment He gives me to be able to stay away from those people, places, and things. And some of those people, keep trying to pop back up. I have a super long block list, not just on here, but also on uh, Facebook. And for whatever reason, I think Facebook has been unblocking these people because they keep popping back up. And I'm like, whoa. So I've had to keep re-blocking people. But also what I was going to say, so going back to this person, so I ended up cutting these two people back out, and for good this time. I went, as soon as I saw his post on Facebook the other day, I was just like, that was it. So I immediately went to his page, I blocked him. I went to his music page, I unfollowed it, I blocked it. And then I went to the other guy's page and I did the same. And then I came on here and I wasn't following one dude, but I went ahead and blocked his page anyway. And then the other guy I was following, so I unfollowed him and I blocked him as well. And then I went through all of my music lists that I have on here, which my Jesus music list, it took me about 4 hours, I think, to go through the whole freaking thing and delete every single video that was the two of them. Just because I can't, I can't be subjected to that kind of stuff, and then I started like really like, I went on what was that site? Reddit? I think it was Reddit. I went on there and I like typed Homo's name in just to see what it would say. And when I did, so many people were like, dude, whatever you do, get rid of his music. Whatever you do, stop listening to him. Whatever you do, unfollow him. He is not who he says he is. He is a wolf in sheep's clothing. Yes, he calls certain people out, but he's so filled with ego and he contradicts himself all the time. And he's not really a Christian anymore. He's not the Christian that you think he is, or that he actually first started out to be. Like, he has fallen into like cult like versions of that, and I was like, oh wow. And then I started thinking, when I was reading that, I started thinking back to like different lives that I used to watch of his, and I was like, wow, now that really makes sense, because me and him got into it one night on one of his lives, because he was like, he had said, all right, you got it, Matt Ruth. I'll definitely be praying for your son. But so homeboy had said like some really bad stuff, right? And I was like, whoa, wait, what? I'm like, you're a Christian and you're defending this person? Like, I get that we all fall from grace and we all need prayers and we all sin and all this, but you are straight up defending a murderer, like, and then saying that this other person, like,
just based, why do you say that? Because that person was black and the other person's white? Like, is that what you're basing it on? And then pretty much they were like, yeah, that is. And then he started asking me personal questions about myself, and he was like, well, um he kept calling me, what would he, because I call everybody dude, all right? Like, I'm not a guy, I'm a girl, okay? I'm a female, but I call everybody dude, and it's not disrespect, it's just the way I talk, okay? Anyway, and he kept calling me like bro or man or something like that. And then finally I got ticked and I was like, I'm not your freaking man. And like, I was like, I don't know if you like mean it as like your dialect, the way you talk or whatever. I'm like, but like, what's up? You know what I'm saying? I was like, do you talk to every female like this? He goes, oh, for real? You're a girl? I thought this whole time you're a guy. And I was like, no. And would that make any difference? And he was like, yeah, actually, it makes all the difference. And I was like, wow. So not only are you racist, you're also sexist, really? I was like, well, guess what? That has nothing to do with Jesus, because Jesus is neither racist nor sexist. You know, like in his eyes, we are all one, you know? Like, we are all his children. He doesn't see race. I was like, Satan sees race. Satan sees division. Satan's all about tearing up families and stuff. Satan is, that's what he is. That's who he is. He's not, Satan doesn't pray. Satan doesn't love. He's not capable of any of that stuff. So it's just like, it's just crazy, man. Um, all right, June. I hope you have a good night. Or good morning. It's like 5 o'clock. Yeah, it's 5:30 in the morning here where I'm at. Oh, thank you, Matt. Thank you, Matt Ruth. I'm trying. I'm trying to stay on the right path. I mean, I am on the right path. Don't get me wrong. I am on the right path, but it's just hard, It's just hard, and we're all under spiritual warfare. It's just like earlier, I was watching a video from somebody on here, and they were talking about how in the last year they have heard countless stories from multiple Christians of all of the spiritual warfare that they are constantly battling, constantly. And it's like every time they get through one thing, another thing pops up. And it's like, dude, you're preaching to the choir right now. Because I remember, like, I think it was, and see, I'm getting my years confused too, though. And that really sucks. But I think it was, like the beginning of last year in January. I did one burn last year. One burn. And that's not common for me. Like before, if you go back and look at any of my other videos on my past burns, which would be burn, testimony, purge, playlist, I did so many in those 2 years or 2.5 years, whatever. I did so many. And last year I only did one the whole time. And I've had two of these bags tied off for like 8 months now to set on fire, and I haven't done it yet. And then I finally got bag 25 done like right before the new year. I tied it off. And my plan was to go out there and burn it before the new year, but I never did it because I don't know. I kept making excuses. And I got to stop doing that. Like, I know I'm messing myself up more with what God's trying to do in my life by me just being complacent. And even with me making videos of me reading the Bible and reading other books and talking about stuff like I'm talking like right now, like even then, it's like, I get sidetracked, you know what I'm saying? Or I get in these funks where I don't feel like getting out of my bed or whatever. But then I keep thinking about how all of these things that I'm doing to myself are basically seven deadly sins, like gluttony. Like you're not supposed to be like eating all the time. And I eat constantly, and I'm constantly like shoving like sugar in my face. I'm got this major sugar addiction. It's insane. And candy and stuff. And sometimes that's all I eat all day long is candy, and I'll barely drink any water. It's just crazy. Um, it's just insane. And you know, um, it's just crazy, man. Like I just won't, I don't take care of myself when I'm supposed to. And then by me staying in the bed all the time too, and not, not doing the stuff that I need to get done around here, because I have a lot of stuff I can do for my parents and stuff, and then I make excuses of why I don't feel like it or I can't do it or whatever. It's crap. I just get so, like I said, I get lost inside myself sometimes. Yes, I do believe we're in the end times, Matt Ruth. I definitely believe so. And I've actually believed that, um, I've actually believed that almost my entire life. I've known from an early age that this I was probably gonna see the end for sure. I was definitely gonna. I felt it when I was young, really young. Um, and yes, June, Satan is the same spelling as Santa. Um, you're right about that. That's why I didn't celebrate Christmas like everybody else did this year. And I told my parents, like, even beforehand, I told them like a year ago, 2 years ago, that I didn't want to celebrate it at all. And even the years before that, I hadn't really celebrated it like everybody else did. I normally would go and pass out bags for to the homeless on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Um, I would get like book bags and fill them up with all different kinds of stuff, like stuff to keep them warm, mini blankets, um, toboggans, gloves, scarves, uh, a bunch of socks. I give them 2 bags of food, um, and with like 4 waters and 2 waters in each bag. And then I do like, um, I'd also do like other stuff. Like I'd give them all like a mini Bible. And if the Bible had really small print, I would give them like a magnifying glass. um, note paper, pens, um, just different things. I try to make it like each time I try to make it different. Plus, I'd also pass out jackets at the same time or coats, or I have like a bag of like hoodies or long sleeve shirts to pass out too. Um, and yeah, I know how you feel, June. It is weird. Um, well, because that's not really when he was born. He wasn't born in December anyway. Um, and I told my parents, honestly, I want to celebrate the the same um holidays and things that he celebrated, just because I want to have that connection with him more so with Jesus, but it's not required of us to celebrate any of those things first and foremost because we're not Jewish. Most of us aren't Jewish. I don't know if you're Jewish or not, but I'm not. And so, you know, it's different. But also, did talk to my Jewish friend, and he told me, and he's actually, what was he called, a Masonic Jew, because he believes in Jesus. Um, he believes that Jesus is God in the flesh, so that's what separates him from being a regular Jew. But he even said that the regular Jews, they have it backwards when they celebrate Hanukkah, that it's not about getting presents for 7 or 8 days. It's really about the feast of, it's actually about the dedication to the temple. That's what they're supposed to be celebrating at that time, is the dedication of the temple. And that most Jews nowadays, they don't celebrate that at all. They just celebrate like time to get together and drink and, you know, give presents to each other, and and have family time, and that's it. Like, so they pretty much, they do Christmas, but they do it for 8 days straight, you know. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I just think it's important, I mean, there's a couple other like traditions that I stopped doing forever ago. I mean, I still do birthdays and stuff, but um, I don't go all out, And I still give my parents stuff, you know. Um, but I give them stuff like all the time. It's not just at one particular time of the year or for their birthday or whatever. Like, I try to like pay them back, whenever they give me stuff. Like, even if it was like years ago, and I'll be like, "Oh, I'll pay you back," and then I never pay them back, but yet I write it down. Whenever they give me something or ask them for something, and I tell them I'm gonna pay them back, and I never do. Then I've been trying now to pay them back now. You know, even though a lot of the time I don't really have the money to pay them back, but I feel like it's important to do it. You know what I'm saying? And I've also like realized that whenever I go out of my way to like help somebody else with something, or like I share the word with people, or even like go out here and do something nice for somebody else, like God opens other doors for me, and he allows me to have other opportunities to work and make money, or he puts different people in my life, even if it's only for a season, it's there. And, at least then I could plant some seeds. I mean, I can't make anybody change their ways or grow or any of that stuff, but, as long as I could plant some seeds, I think that that's good enough, you know. I appreciate it, June. Thank you for that. But, I don't know. I still am not tired. It's like 5:47. I'm supposed to be there. It's like really cold outside right now. I forgot what the temperature is right now. I think it's like 22 or something. But anyway, the temperature at like 9 is supposed to be like 28 degrees, and I think 10 is supposed to be like 34 or something. But I told her that I wouldn't come until between 10:30 and 11 when it's a little warmer. Um, Honestly, I said that because I just don't feel like getting out of my bed and like dragging all of my cleaning supplies to the car in like freezing weather. Um, but yeah, it's really gonna suck if I don't get any sleep, because that house usually takes me a while to clean. Oh, well, then you better get off the internet and go to bed, because I mean that's just crazy. 8 o'clock. You got a couple hours. You better go to bed. Get you some sleep. Sweet. But maybe have a good night. Good morning. Try to get you some sleep. What you been doing? Playing video games all night? But I don't know. I just think it's important. Like, we just gotta be aware of like who we're following, especially when they call themselves like Christian artists, or um even preachers. I mean, even the preachers, like I know a couple months ago, God really opened me up to a lot of stuff that's been happening behind the scenes. And it was like, you know, as soon as he made me aware of some of these people, man, it was like the floodgates open, and so many more people were becoming more revealing every single day. And I was just like, wow. And it was so much of an overload, like I couldn't handle it. It really got me like super depressed. It did. It really did. And I just like kind of shut down a little bit there, because it was just so overwhelming to see all of these musical artists who I have love for like almost my whole life. I grew up listening to them, and I just thought they were the best Christians in the world. And, they've done all these awesome things for all these people, like all over the planet. And, they make this amazing music and like all of this stuff. And they come to find out that it's just all a lie. You know what I'm saying? And it's very troubling. It's really troubling when that happens. But it just goes to show you that Satan really is over the music and that he really does have his hand in things, you know? And it's scary. It's really scary when you like really like break it down like that. And I have like I got this notebook and I fill it up with um people that are call themselves Christians and then other people who are of the world. Um but I know for a fact that they're, dabbling in witchcraft or new age crap or whatever it is, and so I write them down so that I make sure that I don't have any of their videos in my playlist. That make sure that I'm not like listening to their music, or whatever. Or if I have any of their stuff here at my house, I could throw it in my burn bag, you know. So, like I said, God's good, man. And even like it's not even just that. It goes way past that. It goes all the way down to food and like the clothes you wear and like even the shoes. Like it goes so deep. And there's so many other people on here on YouTube that have made videos revealing exactly what I'm talking about and like actually saying these people's names and like, you know, all of this stuff. And so I've actually gained a lot more knowledge from their videos just by like watching them and then like writing down whatever like brand they're saying, like shoe brand or soap brand or you know, food brand or whatever. I write it down in a notebook. And then I go back and I like look it up, like I Google it. I'm like, it's such and such Christian. And then it will like pop up like, no, they're not a Christian. Or, oh, they have this stance on, religion or whatever. And then I'm like, whoa, okay, no. And speaking of, also, there's two other people that I actually found out about um on I think it was last Wednesday, I think it was. And that right there really shocked me because they used to be, because I live in North Carolina, they used to be on the airways, um, on the FM radio when I was in high school. And they had like this, and they were actually, I think they're a little older than me. They're not exactly the same age as me. I think they're a couple years older than me, but they were early on and they were doing this comedy skit um on the radio. It was the two of them. And I just found out that they are no longer Christian. And so I was like, you know what? I gotta sever my ties because I don't need to be listening to that stuff anymore. I don't need to be watching it. I knew something was off because I've watched a couple of their like skits over the last couple months, and it was just like the stuff they were saying was really bad. You know what I'm saying? And then even when the guys was like, "Oh yeah, these Christian people aren't going to be happy. You just said that," and I was like, "Wow," you know. Um, so we really got to be paying attention to what we're watching, what we're listening to, what we're reading, you know. Like I said, you know, I, I've fallen a couple different times, I ain't even gonna lie about it. I just got done watching Stranger Things. I'm not saying it's demonic, but the fact that they said GD the entire time in season 5, like every single character on there said GD, it completely blew me away. Like that's what really ticked me off about the season 5. I loved it. Like I thought it was great. Like there was a couple parts there that was like kind of demonic a little bit, not really, but kind of, but it was just saying GD constantly is what really turned me the wrong way. I mean, they did it in season 4 too, a lot. Um, and pretty much the whole show was like that, but it wasn't as bad as it was. Season 4 was pretty bad with the GD. Season 5 was the worst with the GD though. Like that just like it really bothered me. I definitely won't be watching it again. I'll say that. But I like I said, I try to stay away from other shows. I was watching what was that show? Riverdale. I think it was like a couple months back, maybe like 5 months ago now. And I got I only got to season 2, and then I had to stop watching it in the middle of like season 2. I couldn't even watch it anymore. I just couldn't because it wasn't so much the language. It got really 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 freaking demonic. It's got super duper demonic on there, and I couldn't handle it anymore. All right, June. I hope you have a great day. God bless. Have a good time at school, and you need to go to sleep. All right, bye. But you know, and I did. I just totally stopped right in the middle of watching it and was like, nope, can't do that. And I gave it a thumbs down and took it off my playlist on Netflix. And there's a lot of shows that I can't watch, like just because they talk about stuff that I don't agree with, or they or it's demonic, So I mean, even on Facebook, I'm constantly snoozing people that I'm friends with because of the stuff they post that is um it just bothers me. You know what I'm saying? Like they get, and I'm not saying you can't, you know, that I'm not saying that we have to agree on everything, but I mean when you're sitting here mocking my God, and like you're blatantly going out of your way to like make a post that I know is directed towards me, you know what I'm saying? And like is mocking me or whatever, and I've already given you chance after chance after chance. Nah, man, you gotta go. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm either going to unfollow you or I'm going to block you, and I did block this one guy. I've been friends with him since I don't even know, probably like 30 years. Probably about 30 years, man. And I blocked him on Facebook the other day because of the stuff that he posted was just so demonic, and I was like, wow, where did that come from? Just like, and because at first I was like, is this a joke? Like, did you get hacked? And I sent him a message and I was like, hey man, what's up with this? Like, did you get hacked? Like, why do you got this on your page? And he's like, oh man, no, I didn't get hacked. And I was like, did you post this? And he goes, yeah man, that's my band. And I was like, okay. I'm like, you're in a satanic band now? And he's like, yeah man. I was like, are you like messing with me? And he's like, no, I'm dead serious. And I was like, okay, well, what happened? Something must have happened to make you do this, because you were like super Christian like just a couple months ago. He's like, yeah man, I'm not anymore either. He's like, I'm leaning more towards Buddhism than anything. And I was like, well, I'll tell you this, Buddhism and Satanism don't have anything in common either. But I don't know. I was just like, wow, okay. And then he said something like, he was like, oh, well, you could just unfollow me if you don't want to see it. And I was like, well, I got something better than that. And then that was it. I didn't tell him anything else. I said, well, I'll keep praying for you because that's all I can do. And then I just blocked him because I was like, there's certain people you can't get through anymore, Like if they got their walls really up and they've like been super adamant about keeping their walls up and then being completely against Christ, and then when you try to share the gospel or even say the simplest thing like, hey man, I love you, I'm praying for you, and then they constantly are throwing stuff back in your face, you got to walk away from them and trust and believe. It's hard because I've had to do that with my own family members, I've had to do that several times with my own family members. And it doesn't mean that I don't stop praying for them. It doesn't mean that I stop loving them, because I still love them. I still pray for them every single day, but I don't go over there. I don't talk to them. I don't call them. I don't text them. The last time I did text them, I think I texted them Happy New Year, and that was it, you know? Um, because I texted them at Christmas, and I wasn't here for Christmas. I purposely was not here for Christmas because I didn't want to be around them, just because there's just too much pain there. It's like every time I get around them, I mean, they've gotten their children to be against me now and telling them not to listen to me, that I'm crazy because I'm too much of a Jesus freak, or whatever. And I'm just like, wow, dude, wow. Okay, where did that come from? Like you were raised in the church too. Like I don't understand. I mean, I do understand it. His name is Satan, and that's what he does. He's here to kill, steal, destroy, and that's it. He's not here to like make friends or to have a family. He's all about division. He's all about creating chaos. He's about splitting families up. That's what he does, you know? And it just sucks, and I try to tell him that. I try to tell him that. And then he just like laughed at me and was like, well, I don't believe in the same things you believe. And if you had any respect for me or love for me, you would just stop talking to me about Jesus. And I was like, no, it's because I do love you that I keep talking to you about Jesus. And respect you. Respect you for what? Because you don't believe in God? I need to respect you because of that? No, I'm not going to. I was like, okay, well, do you respect me? And he goes, no, I don't respect you at all. I was like, even though I'm 15 years sober from drugs and alcohol, you don't respect me at all. And he's like, no, not at all. I was like, wow, wow, okay, wow. So, that's his choice. And it sucks. It really sucks. But, I'm not going to sit here and keep pouring out my heart to him, when he's clearly made his mind up about me and about God. And it sucks. It really does. But if you read the Bible, it tells us in there numerous times that this is going to happen, that it will happen, that family will turn on each other, and mother will be against daughter, and son will be against father. And actually, I said it backwards, but you get the gist. And and people, will be lovers of themselves and lovers of the world and lovers of money. And they won't have time for you anymore because of who you are in Christ Jesus, and they won't even have time for him. And it's sad, and it's so disheartening to watch. I think that's another reason why I stay in my bed all the time, because I just rather stay in here where I'm closed off from whatever else is going on. But I do kind of know what's going on in the world, because I get my information from YouTube, not because I watch the news. I don't watch the news at all, but I do see things when stuff pops up on my feed, and then I'll like Google it and be like, okay, or I'll go downstairs and like ask one of my parents about it, and they'll be like, yeah, where have you been? I'm like, asleep. Like I don't pay attention to that stuff. But I try to stay in prayer a lot of the time. I try to pray about stuff, and that's all I really can do. And I got some oils. I'm gonna make some blessed oil. Um, I talked about it in my live the other day, actually. Not my live, but my video I just put up. My last video I put up. I talked about it then, but I haven't done it yet. I didn't do my fast like I said I was gonna do. I haven't done it yet. And I haven't made my blessed oil yet. But I did do a communion the other day, though. I did do that. But I really want to do a fast, and then I want to make this blessed oil. So it looks like I'm supposed to be going to Winter Jam on Sunday, but it also says on Sunday the high is only supposed to be 22 degrees and the low is supposed to be 18 degrees. So I don't really know if we're going to be going to Winter Jam or not because of the weather. It's supposed to be snowing possibly or whatever, and I'm not like wanting to stand out in the snow and ice and cold and stuff for a concert, you know what I'm saying? But if I don't end up going to that, then hopefully I will be making that blessed oil this weekend. I'm supposed to work Friday, and I think the snow and the rain is supposed to start Friday. But maybe if I can get there early in the morning and I can leave there before it actually starts to hit and gets like really cold. And then whenever I come back here, I could just do my fast then. because I don't have to do like a 24-hour fast. I could do like a 12-hour fast or something, you know, something. Just do something so that, I can start making that oil. Because the oil I'm making is from the oil that they talk about in Exodus that they used to do like the um I hate when I lose my train of thought. It was the oil they used on like everything to like um it was the sacred oil, the stuff that they talked about that you're not ever supposed to use or whatever. But I think it's okay if I use that, because if I make it, because I won't be using it all the time, you know? I'll just be using it to bless like the house with. And if I give it to other people, if they use it to bless somebody with or something, like lay hands on somebody, then that would be for that too. But I don't know. We'll see. But I guess I'm gonna get off here. Thanks for hanging out. I hope I didn't go rattle off too bad. I do that sometimes. I get sidetracked a lot, actually. But I hope everybody has a great morning, great night. It's like, oh yeah, it's 6 o'clock in the morning now. So I gotta go to bed and get at least 3 hours of sleep, if anything. But I hope everybody has a great night, great morning. God bless you all. I hope you all have a wonderful day. I'm gonna close in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, I just ask that you please be with every single person that's watching, listening to this. I ask that you please be with them and their families and their friends and whatever they got going on in their life, Lord, that you hear their cries, you hear their pleas, and you help them, Lord. I ask that you just please be with our world, be with our country, be with all the countries everywhere. I ask that you be with all the people that are in charge. I know a lot of these people that are in charge are not good. I know a majority of them are not good, Lord, but I ask that you just please guide them to make the right decisions for the rest of us until, you can come down here and break all hell loose. Lord, I just ask you just wake people up to you before it's too late, Lord. I ask that you please open their eyes, open their ears, open their hearts, open their minds to you before it's too late, Lord. I ask that you be with all my enemies. You know who they are. I ask that you be with all my families and all my friends and all my clients, Lord Jesus. I ask that you please allow me to get some sleep so I can wake up in like 3 hours and be well rested and go to work and be able to do my job and to get done before like 6:30 tonight. If I get done by 6, I would really appreciate it, like a lot. But I just ask this in your name, for you are the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. In Jesus' my name I pray. Amen. All right, you guys, I love y'all. I hope y'all have a great night. God bless. Check me out later. All right, bye.